Welcome to Unleash Your Healing Vibes podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, Veronica Parks. Thank you so much for coming on to chat with me today. It means a lot. Can you introduce yourself? Just give us like a little bit of your background and explain what you do.
Mm-hmm. Um, my name is Veronica, and I came on this journey of helping people, so to speak, get back on that soul highway, on the path that we came here to remember. And my journey had started like probably many people listening, mastering this 3D world, being successful, whatever that is, acquiring things, doing things, learning things, becoming the best version of yourself according to what society expects from you. And some point in that journey, I was originally from Eastern Europe, and I grew up in a communist time under with like major poverty and control and suppression and so forth. So my instinct was like study hard, get your ticket out, and run away as far as possible and start a new life all over, new language, new everything. What I didn't know not what I did not know then was that if you have certain winds within your heart, they follow you across the world. So as much as I came to America and I built this beautiful life, and from the outside it looked perfect. I had my own home in LA. I was traveling the world. Everything was just magical. Yet the more successful I got, the emptier I felt inside. I had this instinct that I was supposed to do something different, that I'm not here to live for my sole purpose of satisfying my human needs and desires. And with that knowingness, also the winds came back, and I found myself in this abusive relationship, which I instinctively attracted to clear what was within me all along. And by doing that, by dedicating so much of my energy and effort and time into bettering myself from inside out, to healing those wounds within myself, this gift of channeling, of shifting energy, of shining that light on my path and those who I work with, who I have the luxury of working with right now, there's groups or private sessions, to come back on that highway. Because sometimes we get so caught up in what is important. And the last 4 years have shown us, have really put that mirror in front of us, like what truly matters in this plethora of experiences, what we're here for. And I was pushed to find out or to remember why I'm here for the hard way. My invitation to all of you listening is that maybe allocate that time to do that meditation, to connect with Mother Nature, to plan, to be in that flow state, whatever that is, through music, through dance, whatever it is that you're creating, to be in that flow and open yourself to the wholeness of who you are. Because with that infinite power that relies within every single one of us, we can create magic. There are no limitations. So, in a nutshell, it is hard to put a label on exactly what I do and how I help people. But one thing I know for sure is that if you feel called to come into my realm, into my field, and work with me in any possible way, that means you're ready for a shift, for a transformation, for a complete timeline shift into a more bigger version of yourself. So, if you're ready for that, then I am the person for you. I hope they answer that question.
Yes, that's great. Um, so you say like you had the relationship. Do you feel that you needed that dark shadow part of you to kind of come out in order to face it?
Of course. I mean, every single person in our lives that we use the word trigger, like somebody pushed your buttons or trigger. Those are such gifts. And then hopefully we get to such awareness that we can hug and love on every person that had, I'm going to use the word inspired instead of triggered because it's a more beautiful word. To every person that inspires us, it's such a gift because now that thing that we're holding in our field came to the surface for us to remember what it's like to bathe in that and be like, no, that is not for me anymore. It's just the one last goodbye. It comes to the surface. And if you in that moment react differently than you've reacted before, now you completed that pattern. It's done. You don't have to repeat that cycle again. So, yes, for me, I ran away from the darkness, the winding, the pain that I felt from poverty to control to sexual abuse to always being told no to completely going silent and not speaking my truth because I was afraid from so many different reasons. And I ran away, so to speak, in a human way. Like we close off and we put this, band-aid on and we act like everything is perfect. And I build this new version or a bigger version of me, so to speak, that I love so much. But I cannot, where none of us can truly integrate or be the wholeness of who we are until you bring all the parts back. So the more I was opening to this amazingness that I love so much, the more of those wounds would come to the surface for me to forgive, to accept, and then love of it, because those parts of me are necessary movements of that journey. And then there's one thing that the society doesn't teach us. We're so thriving on feeling guilt and shame or blame for who we were before, what we did before. And truth of the matter is I have yet to meet a person that has been pure in every possible way from day one. I mean, if they were, that means they're ascended master and they remember from day one. And I have yet to meet that person. We'll put that in a ether, maybe we'll meet it. But all of us make choices, do things, act, maybe out of character, so to speak. And for me, the biggest revelation was, of course, the universe attracted that person to bring every version of abuse in my life for me to remember why I was still carrying. You cannot run away from that. And it showed as a person in my life. It could show up as an accident. It could show up as you losing everything you have. It could show up in many ways. But all of this are gifts for us to remember and come back on our highway. And that is why I always encourage, like, you invest in your soul, do that meditation, do a love, makes you feel good, because you don't want to not pay attention for a long time and then revert into having an accident or illness or abusive relationship. Don't do what I did, in other words. Or use my example so you don't have to go through that pain. But that relationship was very necessary, and and it's 111 122 on my computer. Thank you to all the angels that are participating. That relationship was necessary for me to build myself into the person that I love from inside out, to know who I am, to own all parts of me, the dark, the light, the wind, and the happy, because we're made of all of it. I'm not only one thing. When you get to know me, you get to experience so many different versions. And I try to share that in my work, as many versions of, to inspire every single person to be all they are, because we're not one thing. We're all that we choose to experience.
Well, I feel it's hard sometimes for people to be able to talk, like you said, with your voice. How did you get to the point where you were able to use your voice,
Mm-hmm.
instead of being afraid?
The voice, it's been the biggest winding, I would say, to awaken to. And it was a gradual process. It was a gradual process. First, I was pushed to do live videos, and I did it on all social media at once and share what I do and maybe do those guided journeys. I was terrified. But by doing that, my voice became stronger and stronger. And then it began turning into this like hypnotic voice. I put myself to sleep when I listen to my own work. It's very hypnotic. And the way I found to reclaim the voice and the power was to begin saying yes to myself. Oftentimes, especially as females, we have this winding in our DNA that keeps us sacrificing for our children, for our husbands, for our families, for society. If you have it, then obviously we have this woman, this superpower. But we feel this guilt of providing for everybody else before we can think of ourselves. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
Anyone? You're like, yes, I've been there, maybe 24/7.
Well, that's why I push self-care. I feel like push it on everybody I speak with, but that's so important because you forget to take care of yourself. And that was one of the biggest things in my life was when I started practicing self-care, just little things.
Mm-hmm.
and giving myself compassion and love, like it makes huge difference.
Mm-hmm. So self-care is one thing, taking care of your body. The voice truly awakens to its power when you reclaim your truth, when you don't feel afraid to speak your truth. Let's say today I want to do this and everybody around wants to do something else. Do you give yourself permission to say, hey, I love that y'all want to do this. This is what feels right to my heart. This is what I would love to do. Ooh, how many times have you reclaimed that power space and right to do what you desire? Not to detriment of another, but simply saying yes to you the way you say yes to all around you. We're all guilty of that to some degree. So, and then anytime you feel something in your heart or in your soul and you bottling it up because you're a nice person, instead of speaking the truth from a loving place, every time you hold that truth and you suppress it, that is the first thing that takes away the voice. So the more you speak your truth, the more you begin saying yes to you, your soul desire, your heart desire, the more you give yourself permission to be all that you are, the more the voice unleashes. And the practical way to begin playing with that is simply holding long notes, like you do an oh or ooh or any vowels and hold it for long periods of time. If you can't close your eyes and do that, it doesn't matter what kind of sound as long as you can keep it for a long time. What that does, that creates a sound healing frequency that reverberates in every cell of your body and it activates you. That is your own medicine that is generated through you. I mean,
But,
sound is everything. You truly want to start your healing. That is where you begin. That's where you press the gas. And you have the gift within you. We all do.
well, your own voice, like you said, it is your frequency. I believe a lot in sound healing, like the tuning forks and crystal singing bowls and all of that stuff works. But you don't think of your own voice. But if, like my littlest, he sings all the time. Just that's all he does. And you can tell just hearing himself sing is making his day. He's so happy. So that's something that I think a lot of people forget, is that you, because you don't talk, and then you completely just forget that that can make you feel better. I talk to myself a lot, and then I'm like, I know it makes me feel better. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Yes, well, and that's another thing. Don't care about anyone thinks. I think I did a video a few months ago on my YouTube channel, and it was the message was care less and love more. Because when we carry, you carry somebody's weight, somebody's trauma, somebody's winding. But what if instead we simply hold that space of love? If somebody is in distress, instead of coming down to that level and resonating at that vibration, or we call it bonding, social bonding, right? Why not keep the level of love and simply see them already well, see them already happy, see them prosperous, see them abundant, see them healed? That's what true healing is. Like, I don't do any magic. I simply hold that frequency for that to occur. But we are our vessels, our body is our healing master. We go to others for advice, for healing energy, for this. That's sure, we help each other. But ultimately, your spiritual journey is to begin unlocking the technology in your own body and become your own healer in real time every day. It doesn't take much. It's simply the trust that you already have the superpower within you. I mean, I dedicate my whole existence to this work, but that doesn't mean that I can do something that you cannot. Every single person has that power. So, voice, laughter, just getting in your body, whether it's dancing, any kind of movement, yoga, like feel that. Go outside and hug a tree, be barefoot at least 10 minutes. If you cannot touch your skin to Mother Earth for 10 minutes a day, you're missing on some of the best healing power. It's right here in our backyard or in the park. The best healing tools. You already have them. You already have them.
People, they forget to go back to what our ancestors did. And that's exactly what they did. If you hug a tree, you get the frequency from the tree and it calms you down. Um, it, people, we've just been, like you said, like society has just tried so hard to get us to look externally, for happiness. You need a car, you need a house, you need all these things. But in fact, it really is deep inside of us that is where the answer is.
Well, think about if you went deep inside and realized that you are all that you need. How much would you be influenced by consumerism?
Right.
You would be out of matrix just like that. You're like, well, if I actually eat nutritious food from earth, I don't even need that much. So I can grow my own food, so to speak. Build that heaven on earth and now wait for tomorrow. Because any commercial, any product that you see out there, it's solving a problem that you didn't even know you had until you came across that commercial. So the entire consumerism is built on people's emotions. And once you become aware that you're not puppet to emotion, you can tune in into an emotion or tune out or simply be detached. You are that powerful. Once you're like, well, I'm not a puppet to my anger, to my sadness, to my desire, to my consumerism wants. Let's go quiet for a second. Let's do a journey. I got plenty of things on YouTube that I share. Let's do a journey and get so quiet and so present and ask myself, what do I truly need in this moment? What is truly matter?
The present. I think that's another
Mhm.
thing that it's so hard for people. They want to, worry about the future or worry about the past and give, energy to all of those things when really it's the right now, the here, the present that is so important.
And that is the biggest gift that we can give ourselves. It's when you're present that you are aware of all of it. You become responsible of all of it. You're like, okay, what magic do I want to experience today? If you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, it's good for you. It's easy for you to say, Veronica, you live in a different world. I lived in many crazy circumstances and places. And if I could be happy and look at the world with such beautiful, majestic, fun lenses, then there's hope for everyone because I am truly that leading example of what is possible.
Yeah.
And we inspire each other. We do crazy things. We're like, this human experience, it is truly a journey because we hear these words like we're all one, we're this, we're that, and you're like, yeah, there's just more fluff. This is not what the real world is about. But why do we get convinced that pain, stress, and hard work is real world? Just because 99% of people are doing it, does that make it real? Why, when you see a person that is happy and just bubbling and all of that, you're like, "There's something happened. Like, why are you so happy?
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?" Yes. I mean, I grew up in a culture I never smile unless there was something funny. So being in America for several years, I remember going back and my mom literally was getting irritated. She's like, why are you laughing all the time? She was getting irritated. I'm like, I don't know, because it feels good, because I'm happy. She's like, but there's nothing funny. Like, what? I'm like,
Right.
because that's medicine coming from within ourselves. Love, laughter, it's infectious. You tune into that, you will notice the world around you shifting and becoming the magic that I experience every day. It doesn't mean that things don't go, so to speak, less than, but it's how you react to it. What do you see out of it? When something happened, instead of going, why did this happen to me? You go to, of course, what is the lesson here? What am I missing? And then you go a step farther. Of course, me. Thank you. Now I get to release this baggage so I don't have to carry this anymore. So, whatever you are on that stage, on that ladder, is perfectly fine. We're all in this together. We get to experience what we choose.
Well, everyone's not going to be on the same exact path either. Um, I find that people want to compare too much, and I think it goes back to the external, society thing. They try to make you in competition and not like healthy competition, like with friends and hanging out, but let's all fight for this really horrible job. And it's really kind of sad.
Well, and then that's why and I've created a lot of work to kind of find the inner freedom and break free of that construct. Um, what society teaches us is that we're incomplete, that we need the next job, the next amount of money, the next house, the next thing, the next external validation to feel complete. Spirituality is the biggest danger to the system, to the matrix. I mean, once you find everything within, there is very little that you truly need. There's sun, there's love, there's beauty, there's art. Look outside, there's art every few seconds. It's a new painting. Um, so feeling incomplete, it's a wounding within our DNA, and it's easier said than done. You're like, Veronica, I feel it so strong. Like, how do I discern? How do I find myself all that I need when what my humanist tells me that I need is everything that is out there, and I don't have enough time and money and everything to have all that I need? It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. So we need to go back to the basics and travel from the mind. If you could imagine yourself being in your mind right now, you're thinking. So yes, you are in your mind, and see yourself going down the elevator and going into the heart. And notice yourself being in the heart as your wholeness, being in that heart. Everything goes quiet. And from the heart, because it's the strongest muscle in our body, I mean, it's been through so much and it's still beating. With an inhale, with an exhale, expand it to the size of your room. If you can imagine that, feel what it's like to share so much love through. Especially for those who are constricted or might experience anxiety in normal life, like this is an easy tool to expand. Like, whoa, I'm this big. If my heart can circulate as much love as this room, that means I can hold a space of love for as many people as fit in this room. Whoa. Now you are expanding into your power. We all have this gift. It's just a simple of going into your heart, which is thousands of times more powerful than our mind. You tap into that, anything is possible. So believe in your crazy, believe in what we had forgot, believe that you already are, because it's not costing you anything. Believe has a big lie in the middle. So what do you have to lose? If you believe that the world is this way and it got you to this point and you want to experience something different, switch the belief, change the story. What if from this day on, my life becomes a walking path of magical synchronicities? And everything that comes my way, every person that comes my way is welcomed. And I'm going to love on all of them. How lucky am I to be the transmitter of that? And you bring that play in every work that you do, whether you are working in an office, it doesn't matter what you do. You are the transmitter of the energy they choose to flow through you. That is how powerful we are, every single one of you. So come back to you. Live, laugh, love, love on everything. Remember you.
I think it's perception that we also forget that our perception kind of creates our reality, and it's real powerful. I was reading something the other day about it was a like a hypnotherapist, and he told him it was just a suggestion, and he could see through this person because he had told him not to perceive that she was there, and it just worked like that. She was like a firewall, that wasn't there, and you could see through her. Um, I think people don't realize how important our perception is, and that we can create our reality. Um, just try little things, like you said, just going outside and saying, like, I'm going to have a good day, I'm going to bring joy, and those things find you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a good time right now to connect to Mother Nature because she heals through us. We heal through her. And just I remember as a kid, My mom said to me once, when you drive a car, and I don't know if she said that because we didn't have a car, or she's like, when you drive a car, it's heavy for Mother Earth. Like she doesn't feel good. But when you walk barefoot, it's like a nice massage. Like she loves that. It's like you're playing with her. And the memory came back the other day, and I'm like, I don't know how much truth I had, but it felt good. And when you connect with her, like even when you plant something in Mother Earth, and then she gives you back all those rewards, that's a co-creation. And we as a species, we came here and then look what we do to this planet. I mean, we come and we cut everything off and we take over. Like, no, this is, we live here because we're the most amazing species. And I love seeing places where even restaurants, they co-create. There's a beautiful tree and then they build around, or there's a beautiful tree and they build a home around, and it's this beautiful symbiosis co-creation with Mother Earth. And what I truly believe that the path of creating this new earth is truly a co-creation with all that is detaching from the separation that I am this human, and because I can, I'm going to take over, co-create with Mother Nature. I mean, I've learned how to prune trees and how to do all these things from the trees. The trees taught me. All I had to do is open up my field and ask them what they need. And there's so much wisdom when you tune into that energy that you receive. I mean, if that tree has been around for 100 years, you got some wisdom to tap into because they're connected with every other tree around the planet. Everything is interconnected. The moment you realize that, then you can have a crystal next to you and you tune and connect this crystal to different places where you've traveled to. You tune into that energy, you bring it where you are. Just giving some examples, planting those seeds, but there are infinite possibilities on how you can make your life, your experience here truly majestic when you connect with all that is and not see yourself as separate, not just from other humans, but from a tree, from earth, from sky, from all of it. That means you have to open your heart to such level of love and know that that tree is an extension of you. That flower you just stepped on is also an extension of you. It all begins with every choice we make. Do we make choices out of fear or out of love? It's always one or the other. And when we make choices out of love, then our life becomes love and the creation of it. It's very simple. We make it complicated.
Everything needs to go back to basics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I grow a garden. Last year was the first year that I did it, but it's just amazing just getting my hands in the dirt, and then like whenever I get food back, just watching it grow, and I can tell, like you can see the vibration of the plants, like when this little seedlings pop up, like they're so full of life. And you can envision what it's going to look like when it grows all the way up and to like a big tall corn stalk. It's really magical, and I try to convince everybody, to get back to nature. I've been a barefoot runner since I was little, and I still
Mm-hmm.
do. So, it's grounding. That's when I've been inside with technology too much, I will just take off outside and run, no matter what the temperature is. And my little girl knows. She said, "Oh, mom's grounding."
Oh, I love it. When I was a
And
child, I was barefoot everywhere as well. And they actually have statistics that the biggest problems we have with our back come from wearing shoes. So that should tell you something. Be barefoot as much as you can. So you're already using your own medicine. Amazing.
oh, and I'm teaching, the kids to do it too. Brooklyn, she'll go outside and do the same, and it calms her down, like, because we homeschool. So when she's freaked out and getting upset over something she doesn't understand, she'll say, "Can I go outside and ground for a minute?" And she'll go outside and just take off running back
Mm,
and forth. And like 5 minutes later, she comes back in, she's got to go. Completely a different person. It's drained every bit of that stress, anger, emotions that she, right out of her. So she knows how to handle it now, and I just think it's magical when you see it work for other people, because you can tell everybody all day, but when you see it actually work in other people's lives, it's a really good feeling.
Hmm. The small things are the big things. They truly are. They truly are. And we have to slow down enough to remember. But having so many portals, so many distractions, phones, social media, billboards, everything around is just like thousands and thousands, thousands of bits of information go into our subconscious without even being aware. I drove into Phoenix yesterday and I'm like, oh, I haven't been in a bigger city in a while. And every time I would look up, I would see all these messages on billboards, and they were not uplifting messages. Or like one, I see the word accident, and the other one, I see the word this. And I'm like, people drive and they imprint this information unconsciously, all this negativity without the shower at the end of the day. And you wonder, like, why am I feeling this way? So, and obviously, we do have cities, we do have that environment. What we can do as a person to clear that energy field, we can do a meditation at the end of the day, a daily clearing, so to speak. Or even when you take that shower, like, okay, I'm not into this. Give me something practical I can work with. When you take that shower, just imagine that every drop of water is cleansing away all that you have absorbed that is not for you good. Just imagine that. You will notice a major difference. So we can use the mundane things to do that clearing for ourselves. And then when you do have that time for yourself to listen to something to counteract all this information that we absorbed, sound healing music. Not the pop music, because it plays a certain frequency that is so
Yeah.
uh I feel it because I'm so sensitive. It's almost like it's hurting my field. That's the best way I can explain it. And when I tune into some beautiful sound frequency, or when I start singing for myself, my whole field opens up. I'm back to my the harmonic that it's coherent with my field. And you don't know that until you completely like shut everything off and just immerse yourself in sound healing music for a few days. And then you go back and you walk through a room that's playing news and your field is going to be like, oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
So
I
sound is everything.
Well, the older before they switched the music to the 440 or whatever. So some of
Mm,
the old classical music is still tuned to the 432, and you can feel the difference. It's just, it flows instead of like you said, it's cringy.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I sense it. That's why in hotels I cannot go to the breakfast places because they usually have three TVs with news, and it's like it's too big of a price for me to pay. Like it hurts too bad.
The
But
food's
before,
not
for a
great
good
anyway.
portion of my life, I bathed in that frequency and I accept it as normal. So majority of people like listening to this are like, I feel fine. Well, when you get to that deep meditation state and you feel really good, you're like, oh no, that's meditation. No, that should be your regular 24/7. Then you're realizing what kind of pain and stress you're bathing in before. So, the invitation for those of you who are curious, turn off all the sounds for 3 days and simply do a YouTube search for sound healing music. Melan, there's so many like channels that share sound healing frequencies. And simply listen to that or go outside and listen to the birds, the trees, the natural healing sound created by Mother Earth. Do it for 3 days. Your life will never be the same. You will sense things that you never sensed before. And you'll be like, I know what feeling good is like. I don't want to go back to that ever again. And your journey begins. So, planting that seed for those who feel inspired.
It is the little things.
Mm.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. We're about out of time. Is there anything that you would like to say? How can like people who listen to us get a hold of you?
Um, Most of my social media and YouTube, I think it's Parks Veronica. And if you just Google, you'll find it. I'll share with you a link to a map to inner freedom. So it's a compilation of different series, channeled, guided activation, so to speak, that will open you up to uh, a bigger version of you, to the magical ability within you. You will get to experience part of you they've never experienced before, and then apply the wholeness to every part of your life. It is not easy to explain in words what those activations do. And that is why I paint that map, because depending where you are in your journey, you will receive exactly what is right for you. So I'll share that link with you. And yeah, if part of you is curious, you're like, I don't know what is about this. I'm feeling something. Maybe I don't believe in any of it, but I'm curious. Then come close. Let's play. Because it is truly time to awaken to our wholeness, our physicality, humanness, so to speak, our physicality, our tangibility. It's only 1%. So let's tap into the other 99 and create this real world. It's time.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure and an honor.